what? That right there, that's a line. Whoever I was, the person I was looking at in the mirror, I loved him.
And
that was you.
nothing else mattered.
Ooh, shit, me to my board. Everybody, this is Shaun Ross, and we are with the Kraft at nocturnal.com, and we have Kent Jamz here. Thank you for being here with us.
Yes, sir.
You are about to tell us about just your short journey about everything that you've been doing with music, because you have a new EP coming out as well called Fear, if I'm correct.
Yes.
All right, so I want to go back a little bit. Mm-hmm. I would love to start with when we go way back. You started with a group called Overdose. Mm-hmm. Please tell me, like, how did that happen? What was that like for you at that time? Where do you feel like your space in your mind was entering that group?
Entering that group, I was trying to fill a void. I listened to a lot of Outkast, a lot of Slum Village, a lot of Nerd, and they weren't putting out music. And so I just wanted to make music that sounded like that. I ended up meeting one of the guys in the group with me, and we started out as a duo. There were two other friends that I had known since I was like 6 years old, and they were always fans of the music. And one of the guys rapped too, and the other one was a comedian. And so when we put out the project, we wanted them to be a part of the group too, so we had four. Mm-hmm. And so it was just, I didn't get a chance to go to college, so that was like my college experience. Like that was like my frat experience, and it was just brotherhood. That was the main goal that I guess we achieved with making music, is filling the void of the music of our heroes that weren't making music, and then just having that brotherhood that we didn't get from not going to college.
Okay. So would you say that the sound of Overdose, that inspiration of that sound, did that mainly come from you or everybody as a collective? Because you were saying that there are people like Outkast and NERD, somebody. What would you say was the sound of that particular moment in your life? Like, what was the sound of Overdose?
Rebellious. It's definitely rebellious. And it's just saying and doing the first things that come to mind. So whether if it's partying all late at night or bouncing from different colleges. We would go from like different UCs in California, or you could find us at USC at a frat party, passing out our CDs. And like, again, we were just trying to tap in with like that college experience that we were missing out on. Mm-hmm. And, you know, we were taking on new fans by just being in their face, handing them the CD, and them seeing us together. We used to talk in like movie lines, finish each other's sentences. We have been knowing each other since we were 7, 8 years old. So it was just ironic that we were on stage now, stage diving and doing music with Pharrell and different artists that we were meeting at the time. We went on tour with A$AP Rocky, A$AP Ferg. Like, it was an experience.
Cool, I love that. Do you feel that like, because I actually understand and I agree with you without like having that college experience. I actually didn't finish high school because my career started young. I wasn't like a high school dropout. I mean, I guess I was a high school dropout, but not that way that you would think.
Yeah.
That's really interesting. Do you think that being that y'all were chasing the entire narrative of like that college experience that you did not experience, do you feel like you can honestly say that you got a college experience?
Mm-hmm. I think as an artist, yes. Not necessarily, I guess, from like a scholastic standpoint, but I learned how to not make the same mistakes twice. Like I learned how to like be more on top of my money after dealing with a bad accountant. Like I learned how to like what I wanted in a manager from dealing with a manager that kind of just let us slip through the cracks.
Trial and error.
Yep.
Okay. Something that I want to ask is, obviously you have a very eclectic style. Mm-hmm. What part of LA were you raised in?
South Central.
Okay, so you definitely grew up with a lot of my friends, probably like the Duckworths and Channel Tress and all of them. So Thundercat, that whole, so yeah, I kind of fall in that same world of just like, I call it like artistic black men. Mm-hmm. How is it for you being this guy that probably to certain people back home, you probably would look at it probably as like maybe like eccentric or a little bit off and weird. How is that like how is that staying true to yourself while living in South Central, a place that could be so judgmental, especially for people that are different? Because I'm from the Bronx, and it's basically like the South Central like of New York in its own way.
It is.
So what was that like for you, trying to like also stay true to yourself, but also like surviving and living in a place like South Central?
I just had to get used to being ahead of the curve. I had to trust like my own instincts, especially when it came to like fashion, especially when it came to the type of music I was listening to. I just had to trust that, you know, I have a good taste. And it wasn't hard that I was in a group with 3 other people that had the same, I guess, path. So we went to school with a lot of gang members. My dad is a Muslim minister, so he stopped over 300 gang beefs. So like I knew that side. Legendary. Yeah, I knew that side. You know what I'm saying? And I was very good friends with Nipsey. I worked with Nipsey 3 or 4 records. I was with him when he recorded his last album. So I was connected to that side, and then also I knew I was a trendsetter. Because I'll have on some Margiela tabbies, and then my homeboys.
They're probably looking at you like.
But then a year later, they got them on. Like right now, I'm doing the cowboy boots, boot cut. I just wear a white tee every day. Like this is me. This is my uniform. Yeah. And I'm pretty sure, like my homies hit me all the time. Like, where'd you get those from? I'm like, So
you're leading, like you said, you're being a trendsetter. You're leading the way. Mm-hmm. I actually saw one of Nipsey's last performances, but like in a very weird way. Not like performance, like would you say like a concert? Mm-hmm. But actually, when he did a showcase during Grammy Week, it was for, I think at the time, I'm not sure, was he with Warner? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember that was the last time I actually saw him.
Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. So going into obviously, so you lived in South Central. Mm-hmm. I want to bring up somebody else from LA that I believe you had a project with, Buddy, also, who was an LA native as well. Mm-hmm. How did that come about? How was that? Tell us that whole experience.
So I met Buddy when I was in Overdose. We were in our garage making music, and then out of nowhere, we get this email to accept a video chat, and it said like from skateboard P at Yahoo something, and we click on it, and it's Pharrell, and we're tripping out. I'm like 25, 24. He's like, come to the studio. I'm about to be in LA. We come to the studio a week later. When I come to the studio, that's the first time I saw Buddy. Buddy was actually signed to Pharrell when he was like 16. But he was just this kid bouncing around. I didn't fuck with it. I was like feeling myself at that point, like kind of being a diva. Like, I don't really.
You still a diva.
Yeah. And I'm just like, whatever. I don't care. Fast forward, he got signed to RCA, who I was signed to at the time. And I was trying to figure it out. I had stopped making music with the boys. We were still good friends. But I knew that I wanted to make my own music. So Buddy asked me to come and help him to put his project together. Not necessarily like with the sound, but he had never put together a whole album so I helped him with that. Right. He allowed me to start creating my own music while he would be like sleeping in the studio. So that's how Fan Club came about. Mind you, I just signed a deal right after, we finished his album. I finished my album while he was asleep. I signed my record deal with RCA again, and COVID happened. So when COVID happened, it's like they had to push a pause on his album and they had to push a pause on my album. And we came up with this idea. We have so many songs together that aren't going on either one of our albums. If y'all just pay our producers, then we could put out an album. Right. They agreed. And so that's how Jank Tape came about.
Okay. And so Jank Tape came out, and then I want to bring this up. So you have a daughter. Mm-hmm. Okay, how old is your daughter?
She's 10 now. She's a Valentine's Day baby. So
so he's legitimately a daddy.
Oh yeah.
Legitimately a daddy. Okay, so what would you say? I want to tie this in. So you have your daughter, and then you also have you had a battle with sobriety. Mm-hmm. Obviously, but I would like to hear from you. Do you feel like she is something that also helped encourage you becoming sober, probably to like be there and present for her?
It was in like dark moments that I knew I needed to get right. But one thing I've learned from having a child, and I think a lot of people may be able to identify with this, is no matter who it is, a friend, a partner, a child, like you have to make that decision to change. And the more I try to put that on my daughter or put that on somebody else, like it never worked. It wasn't until like I came up with the choice, like I need to change. Like it's you need to fix yourself. You need to get out of your own way. Right. That's what drove me to do it. Now, from putting on like my own mask, like they tell you on the plane, you got to put on your own mask before you can put on your child's mask. So I had to help myself before I could help her. And so once I did that, I saw it. I saw me being more dependable as a son. I saw me being more reliable as a father. And so it was just a win-win situation. But I had to take care of myself first before I could let that bleed into all the other dynamics that I was part of.
Touche. Okay, so that brings us, well, before we get there, I want to know, what was that battle like with you, becoming sober? What was like the pivotal moment that made you want to like get right for yourself?
Man, it's just first time I think I'm saying this like in an interview, but I had just put out Fan Club, and I'm the type of person, like, I like to work right when I put out a project. I want to start working on the next one. And dealing with this, my dad brought up treatment, and I was totally against it. I can do it by myself. And so I started like coming off of alcohol and drugs and weed on my own. And you literally are not supposed to do that. You can let go, your body can go in a shock. And so that's what was happening. I was having like major withdrawals, and it was a point where I was in the studio recording, and I mean, like, I went into these manic episodes where my body would be shaking uncontrollably. My engineer and producers are like picking me up off the ground, and I never knew anybody that this happened to. I never even saw this like in TV shows or no shit like that. So that's when I knew, like, oh, it's getting physical, and I don't want my daughter, thank God she never saw that. I don't want her to see that. And then again, here's my dad. You need to go to treatment. So I remember waking up, I drove to their home. I hadn't been asleep, bro, in like 5 days. I drove to their home. When I woke up, there was a man sitting on the couch, and he was like, I'm here to help you. And that was it. I went out to a city that I still live in called Ojai. And it took me about 60 days. And within that process, I journaled a lot. I wasn't sure if I wanted to make music, but I knew that I had these thoughts. I was reading a lot of books, and I knew that I knew how to get it out. I've always considered myself a writer, but I do music. But I always consider myself a writer. My mom was an English teacher. She always kept a dictionary and a book in my hand. And every time I finished a journal, I give it to my mom. And so when doing that, I got out of treatment, and I went back to my producers. Now I haven't smoked, haven't drank, so my range is changed. I listen to a lot of D'Angelo, a lot of Al Green, a lot of Isley Brothers. So I really wanted to tap in on the R&B. I knew I had always done R&B, but I wanted to only be R&B because that's all I was listening to.
You were tapping into things that were calming your nervous system.
And I wanted people to appreciate that. I wanted people to, I guess, join me in this new space of vulnerability. And so that was the best way for me to do it. And sobriety helped me to see that, that's why I titled my project Fear, because it helped me to see, like, fear isn't real. Danger is real. Crossing the street in New York City is fucking dangerous. I could be scared about doing that. But, like, not the fear of, like, people not liking it, I got to get over that. Fear of people, like, judging me for, like, literally feeling uncomfortable when making this EP, like, that's when I knew I had something, because the records I was making wasn't coming out in a day. I used to pride myself on going to the studio every day. You're an artist. If you're not in the studio, somebody else is in the studio. Where with this one, some songs took me 8 months. Other ones took me 15 minutes.
People don't realize that with music, like, and this will bring me to my last, like, 2 questions. People don't realize when you're making music that it's such a process. Also, too, you were saying that fear is not real. You want to know something that's also interesting? How we cook food, how spice isn't, it's not a flavor.
Really?
Spice is not a flavor at all. It's your response to pain. So when you're putting, like, cayenne pepper in your food, or you're doing things like hot sauce, like that hot element, it's not an actual flavor at all. It's actually your response to pain. Isn't that interesting?
That's
all the
very
spicy things that we have, like cinnamon, or we have like I said, cayenne, or whatever it is. The spice moment, it's not a flavor at all. It's the other things around it that make you think it's a flavor, but it's not a flavor. Random fact.
Yeah.
So we're here to now we're here with your EP that's coming out. Or is it out right now?
It's out. Yeah.
Okay, it's out, and it's called Fear. Please explain to us, like you were already, but what does fear mean to you, and what inspires you to basically do this record called Fear?
Being able to get comfortable with solitude, I think that's what inspired this. I feel like as an artist, I always ran away from things. I thought I was running away from things, and I thought I was running away from other people, but in actuality, I was running away from myself. My biggest fear was me becoming, like, the best version of myself, because I didn't know what that looked like. It was unknown. And so once I was able to give into that, because that takes time. That's why I like to work out, because I don't see results the next day. It's going to take me about a year to see, like, okay, I like the way my arms look, or I like the way my chest is starting to poke out, or whatever. It takes time. Even with a book, most people, I don't read my book in a day. Like it takes time. Over time, I'm like, oh shit,
What book
I'm
are you
just
reading right now?
right now.
Audiobook.
Yellow Dog, Walter Mosley.
Okay, I'm being corny. I definitely started The Mountain. What is it? The Mountain is Yours.
What is that?
Is it called The Mountain is Yours?
I forget. Who is that?
Let me tell you.
I'm big on Octavia Butler and Walter Mosley right now.
I'm gonna say right now, don't quote me. It's literally something somebody told me. The mountain. Oops, sorry. The Mountain is You. The Mountain is You. So I just started that literally 2 days ago. I like audiobooks. I also was finishing Mel Robbins' Let Them with the whole Let Them Be Whatever They Want theory kind of situation. But yeah, so that basically brings us to what fear is and what it inspired, which I also resonate with. I would say my last question before I have to exit is what are you hoping for this project to basically bring you into the future? Like, what does that look like for you?
One thing I've learned, so I also have helped almost 70 people get sober in this journey that I've gone into. Yeah. And so within doing that, like I learned that I used to think that I was making music for myself. I remember my first tour, and I would see like a bunch of like people of different races saying my lyrics back to me, and they're saying the N-word too. They say nigga. It's like right in front of me. And I'm like, oh, this is bigger than me. Like people are actually connecting with this, whether they look like me or not. And I feel like a lot of artists don't take advantage of that. And right now, for where I'm at in my life, I'm big on my morals. I'm big on what I'm doing when nobody is looking, which is like my character. And so like I've worked a lot on people to aspire to be more like that. If you don't got to be like me, but more like that. And so that's what I want to be. I want to be of service for people that listen to it, whether it's a terminal for you to play it for somebody that you weren't able to communicate with, for something for you to get up the nerve to be able to communicate. I'm big on like taking accountability so that your intention is good when you communicate to your partner. Because essentially this is just blues, it's blues music. I say blues and rhythm because I had to have the feeling before I came up with the melody. I was just about to ask
you that. That's because you said I was literally, okay, so I thought that was my last question, but this is my last question. Do you feel like I think we all are, but I think in a moment we're not. Do you feel like you had to hit a form of rock bottom in order to come to this? Like, do you think it brought on your rebirth or something?
I think that it's a tough one. You know what I'm saying? Because like the way my rock bottom looked, I had to. So my rock bottom, I was never by myself. I always wanted to push that lonely narrative. I always wanted to push that like I'm alone narrative. But my rock bottom sucked because I wasn't by myself. I had my family. I had my daughter. So I don't think I ever, thank God, reached that rock bottom. I did have realizations and a lot of physical things that were going on. But I had to invest time in people that had good intentions on me. As an artist,
people who didn't.
As an artist, that's what we do. We attract people with same energy, but we also attract people with negative energy. And those are going to be the ones closest to you. It wasn't necessarily like a friend. It wasn't necessarily like my label, but it was real. And so I had to change everything about myself. And that I felt more rock bottom changing everything that I did. Even from cutting my hair to wearing the same type of clothes every day to living in Ojai and not being around nobody. Like I had to embrace that loneliness because the person I was looking at in the mirror, I loved him. That's all that mattered.
Who was watching this? You hear that? That right there. That's a line. Whoever the person I was looking at in the mirror, I loved him.
And nothing else mattered.
Ooh, shook me to my core. Well, thank you so much for everybody for listening to me. I am your imaginary host, Shaun of the Kraft of thenocturnal.com.